As I was saying, that was the exact same thing that the first plagues did in Mitzrayim, that will also revisit the earth in the time of the prophecy of these prophets, these two witnesses who are calling both Israel, who has apostatized, and the world to repent and turn back to Yah. So now we look at these prophets being tormenting the earth so much that people sought to kill them, and particularly the beast that came up out of the pit, which we know are these Greco-Roman armies. And we just read it, but we're going to go back and read it again in Daniel chapter 7 and the 25th verse and see what these armies intend to do. They say it speaks words against the Most High. So they're blaspheming the Most High. It wears out the set-apart ones of the Most High. Right there is where you know these two witnesses will fall. Okay, it wears them out. And it intends to change appointed times and law, and they are given into his hand for a time, times, and a half a time. Okay, so these 3.5 years that these witnesses prophesied are going to be brought to an end as the beast kills them, and their bodies lie in the street of that great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Mitzrayim, where also our master was impaled. So that's a very interesting point. Let's look at first Ezekiel 37, 1 through 14, to understand this city that it's spiritually called Sodom. We're going to go from the Isaiah verse 1 and 10. It says this. We're going to go back to 8. It says, "And the daughter of Sion is left as a booth in a vineyard, as a hut in a garden of cucumbers, as a besieged city." So she has been besieged. "Unless Yah of hosts had left to us a small remnant, we would have become like Sodom. We would have been made like Gomorrah. Hear the word of Yah, you rulers of Sodom, speaking to Jerusalem. Give ear to the Torah of our Elohim, you people of Amorah," or Gomorrah. Okay, so he's comparing rebellious, apostate Judah and Jerusalem, and even Ephraim, Israel, the northern kingdom, the southern and the northern kingdom, to Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, he also considers them to be like Egypt in ways. But we're going to first look at Ezekiel 16 and read the first 3 verses. And then we're going to go over and read the 44 through the 46 verses. So he's speaking to Jerusalem first. "Again, the word of Yah came to me. Son of man, make known to Jerusalem her abominations." Okay. And say, "Thus said the master Yah to Jerusalem, your origin and your birth are from the land of Canaan, or Canaan. Your father was an Amorite and your mother a Hittite." Okay. And they go over to the 44 through the 46 verse. It reads as follows. "See, all who use proverbs shall use this proverb against you, like mother, like daughter. You are your mother's daughter who despises her husband and her children, and you are the sister of your sisters who despise their husbands and their children. Your mother was a Hittite and your father was an Amorite." Okay, those are Hamites. "And your elder sister is Shomaron, she and her daughters, who is dwelling to the north of you. And your younger sister, who is dwelling to the south of you, is Sodom and her daughters." So this is letting you know, again, that Israel is compared to Sodom in ways. And now we're going to look at how these witnesses are going to lie in the street, but they shall be raised up in a little bit afterwards. Let's take a look at something real quick. There it is. So we had discussed how the witnesses also are composed of the people and the spirit, but the spirit is found in the Torah. Okay, because Zephaniah 3:4 lets you know that the Torah has laid dead in the street for a while, as a matter of fact, because ever since 70, the faith of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob has been stripped from the soil that it arose on in Israel, and also the customs that it was once practiced upon, which are Torah observance and has been an antinomian or anti-law culture, and the Torah has laid dead for 2 millennia for the most part in the world, as relates to the world. Of course, there are Israelites who are still practicing Torah, even though a lot of Judah, or shall I say Jews, are more Talmudically based as far as their observance, and not so much Torah based. They're more legalists and Judaizers as opposed to Torahisers. Okay, we need to be a Torahizer. But it says this in Zekaryah 3:4: her prophets are reckless, treacherous men. Her priests have profaned the set apart place, the people pretty much as well, and they have done violence to the Torah. Okay, so the violence is not only towards the people in the sanctuary, but it's also towards the Torah. So this is how we can see the people and the word have laid dead in the streets for 3.5 days. Okay. And so now when we go down some, we're going to see how their bodies laid out, for a while. And we had read from Psalm 79, verse 3, how they did not bury these individuals, but they left their bodies out in the street. Okay. So when we look now at these people sending gifts and rejoicing over the fact that they had finally brought an end to the prophets for the torture that they had brought on earth. I mean, this is just the nature of the world, the carnal man, and wanting to not be spiritually satisfied. Let's look at Romans 8. This is what this is about, because the prophets were only telling people return to the Torah. Okay, but this is the problem why they have such enmity towards these prophets. Let's read this. This is Romans 8 verse 5, and we're going to read this through 13. For those who live according to the flesh set their minds on the matters of the flesh. Period. Okay? But those who live according to the Spirit, the matters of the Spirit. For the mind of the flesh is death. This is why they bring death with them. But the mind of the Spirit is life and peace. Because the mind of the flesh is enmity towards Elohim. They hate Elohim. They despise Elohim. They deny his existence. And they want everything possible to do nothing with him. Okay? They do everything possible to have nothing to do with him. That's what I'm trying to say there. The mind of the flesh is enmity towards Elohim, for it does not subject itself to the Torah of Elohim, neither indeed is it able. They aren't even capable of doing so. And those who are in the flesh are unable to please Elohim. Why? Because they are pleasing themselves, which is ultimately pleasing their master, who is Hillel or Lucifer. Lucifer is all about self-gratification. Do as thou wilt is the whole of the law. Okay, that is one of the secret Luciferian teachers that Aleister Crowley had taught. And he called himself the beast. He professedly called himself the wickedest man on earth, 666. And he's letting you know who he worshiped. Lucifer, okay, the beast. But you are not in the flesh, but in the spirit, if indeed the spirit of Elohim dwells in you. And if anyone does not have the spirit of Mashiach, this one is not his. And if Mashiach is in you, the body is truly dead on account of sin, but the spirit is life on account of righteousness. And if the spirit of him who raised Yahushua from the dead dwells in you, he who raised Mashiach from the dead shall also give life to your mortal bodies through his spirit dwelling in you. So then, brothers, we are not debtors to the flesh to live according to the flesh. For if you live according to the flesh, you are going to die. There's 2 deaths. You have 2 deaths to face. But if by the Spirit you put to death the deeds of the body, you shall live. For as many as are led by the Spirit of Elohim, these are the sons of Elohim. I got to notate that I put that down there. This is Romans 8. That's 5 through 16. Okay. Just had to notate it. So now, this is the reason why they were sending gifts to each other. This is in regards to the gifts that they had sent, because they were in enmity towards Elohim, and they feel like, you're torturing us. You're not speaking what's right. You're wrong. You're wrong. Science says this and science says that. They find reasons to justify their behavior as opposed to submitting to a higher order and a higher consciousness that is taking place. We got some people lighting off M80s and stuff on this wicked ass day. Anyway, so now the Spirit came back into these people and entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell on those who saw them. This is because the resurrection is real. And we're going to take a look at 2 verses in this. First, we're going to go to, let's go to Isaiah 26 first, in verse 19. Let's take a look at this resurrection being real. This is Isaiah 26. It says this: "Let your dead live, together with my dead body. Let them arise. Awake and sing, you who dwell in dust, for your dew is a dew of light, and let the earth give birth to the departed spirits." Okay, or those are the Rephaim, the departed spirits. Let those whose spirits have departed come back and return and be resurrected. This is what we call the Tekiyat Hamatim, okay, the resurrection of the dead, okay. This is expected by the Pharisaic understanding as well, not so much this Pharisaic or Rabbinic Judaism, but the Pharisaic mind, which even was present in Yahushua, who thought like a Pharisee, okay. He thought like a Pharisee, but he did not act like a Pharisee. He acted like an Israelite. He acted like a Hebrew Israelite who crossed over and overcame and wrestled with Elohim and men, and overcame and became victorious. Okay, he even wrestled with sin and death and became victorious. This is what we have to become. Unless our righteousness exceeds that of the Pharisees, we shall by no means enter into the kingdom of heaven. This is because the Pharisees are considered lawless. They were legalists, but they were lawless. They kept the Talmud and the Mishnaic teachings, but they did not keep Torah. Okay, that is how we have to exceed their righteousness, by keeping Torah. We have to observe Yah's word in Mashiach, okay? This is what is not being taught largely, okay? We don't keep the law for our salvation. We keep the law because we have been redeemed and delivered and saved from sin and from death. This is what we have to understand. Huge difference, huge difference. It is out of our love that we keep the commandments, okay? This is what we have to understand. So we just said this: let your dead rise, okay? Let your dead live together with my dead body. Let them arise. Awake and sing, you who dwell in dust, for your dew is a dew of light, and let the earth give birth to the departed spirits. This is an understanding that is found even in prophets. The prophets understood this, okay? They understood the resurrection. So much so that Ezekiel says this in chapter 37. We're going to read the first 14 verses of Ezekiel 37. "The hand of Yah was upon me, and he took me out by the Spirit of Yah." So again, he's seeing this in spirit. He's seeing this vision in spirit. "And he set me down in the midst of the valley, and it was filled with bones," okay? "And he made me pass among them all around, and see, there were very many on the surface of the valley, and see, they were very dry. And he said to me, Son of man, would these bones live? And I said, O Master Yah, you know. And he said to me, Prophesy to these bones, and you shall say to them, O dry bones, hear the word of Yah." This is what the imperative call and response is. Hear the word of Yah. Hear the word of Yah. What is the word of Yah? Torah. Hear the Torah. Okay? Thus said the Master Yah to these bones, see, I am bringing into you a spirit, and you shall live. You were dead, but now you shall live. And I shall put sinews on you, and bring flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put a spirit in you, and you shall live, and you shall know that I am Yah. So when you come to life, and you shall recognize, man, Yah brought me back to life. This is all because of the Most High. I am alive in, through, and because of him. Okay? This is the imperative understanding. Verse 7. And I prophesied as I was commanded. And as I prophesied, there was a noise, and there was a rattling, and the bones came together, bone to bone. So you got the ankle bone connected to the shin bone connected to the knee bone connected to the thigh bone. And we hear the word of Yah. So this is the song that we sing, and we understand this stuff. These bones are coming together at the word of Yah. There's a uniting taking place. There's a reuniting taking place. and a refusing of life. Because the word of Yah, everything is because of the word of Yah. And we know the word was made flesh, but the deeper thing is, do we know that we have to become the word made flesh? Is that what we understand or not? Because if we don't understand that, we're fooling ourselves. We have to become the word made flesh as well. Okay? Not just trusting the one who did that. We have to follow the one who did that, trusting in him. Verse 8, and I looked and saw sinews and flesh came upon them, and skin covered them, but there was no spirit in them. He then said to me, prophesy to the spirit, prophesy, son of man, and you shall say to the spirit, thus said the Master Yah, come from the four winds, O spirit, and breathe on these killed ones. These killed ones, these bones are a result of being murdered. These two witnesses lying dead in the street had been murdered. But after 3.5 days, the spirit shall come to life back in them. This is what this is talking about right here. So, it says this, come from the four winds, O spirit, and breathe on these killed ones so that they live. And I prophesied as he commanded me, and the spirit came into them, and they lived and stood upon their feet, a very great army. And he said to me, son of man, these bones are all the house of Israel. See, they say, our bones are dry, our expectancy has perished, and we ourselves have also been cut off. Therefore prophesy, and you shall say to them, thus said the Master Yah, see, O my people, I am opening your burial sites, and shall bring you up from your burial sites, and shall bring you into the land of Israel. This is a crucial understanding. The land of Israel is imperative in our redeeming of this world, or this earth. Returning the earth back to its original state. Verse 13, and you shall know that I am Yah when I open your burial sites, my people, and bring you up from your burial sites, and I shall put my spirit in you, and you shall live, and I shall settle you in your own land, and you shall know that I, Yah, have spoken, and I have done it, declares Yah. Which is why when we read the next verse, chapter 12, and they heard a loud voice from the heavens saying to them, come up here. Come up here. And they went up into the heaven in a cloud, and their enemies saw them. The enemies saw them because they were going home. They were going to heaven on earth, the place where the kingdom of heaven is established, where Yah's throne is established in Jerusalem. This is what this is about. This is not some mystical thing. Now, he's seeing this in vision, yes, but this has to have an earthly reality. The earthly reality is this. Yah has chosen Israel, and more specifically Jerusalem, as his throne. Okay? That is where Yah will once again rule the earth from. He has chosen Jerusalem. Okay? Don't believe me? Let's look at Jeremiah 3. Don't believe me? Believe the word. Don't believe me. Believe the word. Let's see. This is 14 through 17 of Jeremiah 3. Return, O backsliding children, declares Yah, for I shall rule over you, and shall take you, one from a city, and two from a clan, and shall bring you to Zion, Sion. And I shall give you shepherds according to my heart, and they shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. And it shall be, when you have increased and shall be fruitful in the land, in those days, declares Yah, that they no longer say, the ark of the covenant of Yah, neither would it come to heart, nor would they remember it, nor would they visit it, nor would it be made again. At that time, Jerusalem shall be called the throne of Yah. This is after all this, at that time, in that day. Okay, this is letting you know, Jerusalem shall be called the throne of Yah. And all the nations shall be gathered to it, to the name of Yah, to Jerusalem, and no longer walk after the stubbornness of their evil heart. Okay, so this is letting you know again, Jerusalem will be chosen as the throne of Yah. That is going to verse 11. I'm sorry, verse 12. And that was, what verses? That's, I believe, verse 14 through 17. And now we're going to look at Isaiah 60 and 8. These clouds, they came up in a cloud. Well, they have a question. This is Isaiah 60 and verse 8. It says, who are these who fly like a cloud and like doves to their windows? Who are these? It's Israel. This is Israel, okay? This is the people who have all these faithful witnesses surrounding them that we have read about in Hebrews 12:1. But it's like a cloud. They're not flying in a cloud. They're flying like a cloud. They are returning on planes, in planes and stuff. Hello, let's make this simple. They didn't have the technology of an airplane in the days of John in, the first century. They didn't have that type of description of or vision or reality of a plane flying, but it's like a cloud. You look up in the sky and you see this large plane flying over you, and you didn't know what it is back in the day. Is that a cloud moving with noise? So this is what we have to understand, okay? So come up here. He's telling them to come back to home. So in that hour came to be a great earthquake, okay? So there's some earthquakes we're going to look at. Let's look at Ezekiel 38, verse 18 through 20. It shall be on that day, on the day when God comes against the land of Israel. Gog, G-O-G. Okay, this is dealing with the Ukrainians in the land of Ashkenaz and Khazariah. Okay, when they come against the land of Israel, declares the Master Yah, that my wrath shall come up in my face. For in jealousy and in fire of my wrath I have spoken. On that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel, so that the fish of the sea and the birds of the heavens and the beasts of the field and all the creeping creatures that creep on the earth and all men who are on the face of the earth shall shake at my presence, and the mountains shall be thrown down, the government shall be thrown down, the steep places shall fall, and every wall fall to the ground. Okay, so this is letting you know, bam, I'm shaking this stuff, okay? We're going to also look at Haggai. Chapter 2, verse 6 and 7. Haggai 2, 6 and 7. For thus said Yah of hosts, once more in a little while I am shaking the heavens and earth, the sea and dry land, and I shall shake all the nations, and they shall come to the delight of all the nations, which is Israel, Jerusalem in particular, and I shall fill this house with esteem, says Yah. Now, is that it? No, it's not. There's more. Let's listen to this. This is Zekaryah 14. And this is 4 through 9. Zekaryah 14, 4 through 9. You read as follows. And in that day, his feet, speaking of Mashiach's feet, shall stand upon the Mount of Olives, which faces Jerusalem on the east. And you go to Jerusalem, you look at Mount Olives, there's all kind of grave sites there because these people are expecting the Messiah to return to Mount Olives. So they've planted their graves there, so they'll be the first to raise. Okay, deep. And the Mount of Olives shall be split in two. What's that from? An earthquake. From east to west, a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall move toward the north, and half of it toward the south. And you shall flee to the valley of my mountain, for the valley of the mountains reaches to Yatsar. And you shall flee as you fled from the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, sovereign of Yehuda. And Yah, my Elohim, shall come, and all the set apart ones with you. And in that day it shall be, there is no light, it is dark. Now, all the set apart ones with you. That's the cloud with Mashiach. That is the cloud with Mashiach, okay? We have to keep that in mind. The witnesses are the cloud. So he shall come with his people, his set apart ones, which are the cloud, okay? And it shall be one day which is known to Yah, neither day nor night, but at evening time there shall be light. And in that day it shall be that living waters flow from Jerusalem, half of them toward the eastern sea and half of them toward the western sea, in summer as well as in winter. Only 2 seasons in Jerusalem, wet and dry. Wet is winter, dry is summer. And Yah shall be sovereign over all the earth. In that day there shall be one Yah, and his name one. So now we're going to go to verse 14 talks about the second woe is past, and now the third woe is coming. And so you're seeing the 7th messenger sounding, and there came to be loud voices in heaven. The reign of this world has become the reign of our master and of his Messiah, and he shall reign forever and ever. So letting you know that Yah is sovereign. He is now the ruler of all this earth, okay? We're going to look at a very interesting verse here, because this is typically overlooked by many. If I find it, it's Obadyah. I'm sorry. there. Okay. Obadyah. It says this. I'm going to go back to 17 and read it 21. It says, but on Mount Sion there shall be an escape, and they shall be set apart. And the house of Yaakov shall possess their possessions, and the house of Yaakov shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, but the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall burn them among them, and they shall consume them, so that no survivor is left of the house of Esau, for Yah has spoken. And they shall possess the south with the mountains of Esau, and low country with the Philistines. And they shall possess the fields of Ephraim, and the fields of Shamaron, and Benjamin with Gilad. And the exiles of this host of the children of Israel possess that of the Canaanites as far as Sarapheth, and the exiles of Jerusalem who are in Sepharad possess the cities of the south. And saviors, plural, saviors shall come to Mount Zion to judge the mountains of Esau, and the reign shall belong to Yah. Okay? So this is letting you know that Yah's reign is going to be established with his people. Okay? So when we read this, the reign of this world has become the reign of our master and of his Messiah, and he shall reign forever and ever. Let's look at Daniel chapter 7, verses 26 and 27, as we're nearing the end of this chapter. Daniel 7, 26 and 27, which reads as follows, but the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away its rule. They who? The people. We're taking away the rule of this fourth beast that has morphed and has evolved and has spread out its tentacles through all this world, okay, to cut off and to destroy until the end. And the reign and the rulership and the greatness of the reigns under all the heavens shall be given to the people, the set apart ones of the Most High. His reign is an everlasting reign, and all rulership shall serve and obey him through his people. Through his people. The kingdom is in us. So when we establish this kingdom and rule in Yah's name, according to his precepts, his statutes, his judgments, his right rulings, his decrees, his laws, then the kingdom shall be established in us, and we shall rule forever. Okay, this is what we need to understand. We just read Zekaryah, and we just read that there, so that's what that's about. So verse 16 and 17, the 24 elders, we discussed that there, fell on their faces and worshiped the Elohim there. 17, we give thanks to you, O Yah El Shaddai, the one who is and who was and who is coming, because you have taken your great power and reigned. 18 says, and the nations were enraged, and your wrath has come, and the time of the dead to be judged, and to give the reward to your servants, the prophets, and to the set apart ones, to those who fear your name, small and great, and to destroy those who destroy the earth. And the dwelling place of Elohim was opened in the heaven. The ark of his covenant was seen in his dwelling place. There came to be lightnings and voices and thunders and a great earth and an earthquake and great hail. So let's kind of go back to this here, right? The nations were enraged. This is from Psalm 2. Why are they mad? Why? Tell them why you mad, yo. Tell them why you mad. The Gentiles are mad because they want to do their own thing. It says this, why do the Gentiles rage and the peoples meditate emptiness? The sovereigns of the earth take their stand. They're against Yah, okay? And the rulers take counsel together against Yah and against his Mashiach, and say, let us tear apart their bonds and throw away their ropes from us, okay? So this is what they're saying. This is why they're mad, because they don't want to keep Torah. They want to do their own thing. They want to rule how they want to rule. They're in love with corruption. They're in love with bribes. They're in love with death and murder and bloodshed. They worship the beast and the dragon and Lucifer. Hallel, they are his servants. He has deceived them into thinking this is how you are to live, okay? So they're in resistance to that, in extreme resistance to that. So this reward that Yah does have for those who are fearing him, right? To give the reward to your servants and prophets and to their set apart ones. This is what we have to understand. This is Revelation 22. And this is verse 12. It says, see, I'm coming speedily, and my reward is with me to give to each according to his work. Not his faith, but his faithfulness in his carrying out of his duties, his work. This is what this all comes down to. And we're going to close on this note here, because the theophany, the appearance of the Father again comes with lightnings, voices, thunders, earthquake, and great hail. Okay. So the dwelling place of the Elohim was open, but it is only accessible to those who have been faithful. And so this is a matter of obedience. Again, all this comes down to us obeying and loving Yah with all of our heart, soul, and strength, and loving our neighbor as ourselves, which is the fulfillment of the law, but those are specifically carried out within the within the 613 laws that are in the Torah. And so the only way that we are going to be rewarded is based on our deeds, our fruits. Yah examines our fruits. He can't examine our faith, what we believe on the inside. He wants to see what we're doing. What are we doing? Because the world is in a mess, and what people are doing to this world is what is causing the judgment to come. Okay, the wrath to come. But it is our role as the household of faith to repair this world, to bring forth the correct instructions, and then to bring forth the right fruit, the right deeds, the right work. We treat people fairly. We treat people honestly. We treat people in love and compassion. This is what this is about, and this is what the world is lacking. And this is why we read when Mashiach says that love shall wax cold because of the increase of lawlessness. The Torah is no more in this world because people don't care about the Torah. They have become judges of Torah. They have placed themselves as superior to Torah because of the incorrect understanding of the Torah. Okay? So we need to bring it back and get it right so we can serve the Father in spirit and truth. So we're going to get ready for Revelation 12 tomorrow. So with that, Yivarechacha Yahuwah vayishmerecha Ya'ar Yahuwah panav alecha vayechnucha Yisar Yahuwah panav alecha vayisam lecha Shalom. May Yah bless you and keep you. May Yah cause his countenance to shine upon you, be kind unto you. May Yah lift up his face unto you and give you peace, one love. Shalom Elechem.